View this video from the playlist to see the complete video content.
One thing that you always need with your sewing machine, besides thread, is extra needles, because at some point you will damage the needle enough that it needs to be replaced. And there are a couple things that can happen with needles to be damaged. One is that the point can be knocked off or blunted, and you'll start to hear that when you hear a thumping noise every time the needle hits the fabric, because it's essentially breaking the fibers instead of sparing them. The other is if the needle's bent, and a bent needle usually will result in things like skip stitches, or even the needle will ultimately hit something that it shouldn't and break on you. I would prefer that you replace the needle before you have a needle breakage issue. And then the third thing that can happen with the needle is, in our industry, you use a lot of double-sided tape in order to hold large panels together prior to sewing. And if the material is not heavy enough to clean the adhesive from the needle as you're sewing, then you get a gummed needle. In other words, the needle, the slot in the side of the needle, or the scarf, if you will, not the scarf, the groove in the side of the needle that the thread runs through can get fouled with adhesive, and as a result, the loop won't be created consistently and the machine can skip stitches. Now, sometimes you can clean a needle like that with something like Goo Gone or 3M adhesive remover, but needles aren't that expensive. Take it out, throw it away, put a new one in, and if you're changing needle sizes, don't save an old needle, get rid of it, put a new needle in. It's far better on your sewing machine to just always operate with fresh needles than it is to try and worry about whether a needle is good or bad. So in my hand, I have a 135 by 17 needle system, size number 20, as you can see here. And this is what a typical pack of needles looks like for the Ultrafeed sewing machine. There are 10 needles to this pack. I'm going to remove one and let's show you how to install it. I have removed a needle from the package, and I want to point out some critical things. Ultrafeed machines take needles with a round upper shaft, as you can see here. But more importantly, we need to think about the sides of the needle. On this needle, there's a long groove, and that's the groove that I was talking about that can be fouled by adhesive. And that groove runs pretty much this full length that I'm running my finger. And that is the groove that, when you have the needle installed properly in the machine, should be on the left side of the needle as you face the machine. But now as I slowly rotate the needle to the opposite side, and even to the side here, you can start to see the scarf. The scarf is a flat area that's about 1/8 of an inch tall, right above the eye of the needle, which is where the thread goes through. And that scarf is where the hook passes in order to catch the loop of thread created by the needle. So the scarf must be to the inside of the machine, facing the right, as you sit in front of the machine. So since the top of the needle is round, when you put the needle in, you have to make sure you have it oriented so that the groove is on the left, the scarf is on the right. So to replace the needle, we want to remove our thread from the needle, and then I'm going to rotate the flywheel to lower the needle bar down so that I can gain access to the screw here on the right, which takes a standard screwdriver from your kit. Turn it counterclockwise just enough to loosen it, and now I can pull this needle out and remove it and discard it. I take my new needle, and my new needle again, we want to drop it down into the hole of the foot, and then we want to find the hole in the needle bar and slide it up. And now I'm going to rotate it in order to get the groove to the left and the scarf directly to the right, and I want to get it nice and square. This is something you want to take a little time on. You also want to get it all the way up. So I'm holding it up to its top with pressure. There is a stop, and then I'm going to tighten my set screw enough that I can see if I need to make any tweaking adjustments, and I'm squaring it just a little bit, and then get that screw good and snug, and my needle is in. Now we want to be sure that the needle is in right by viewing the view hole. There's a hole right up here above the screw, and we want to make sure that the top of the needle is topped out in that hole, which it is.
To thread the eye of the needle, the thread goes into the left side and out the right, as we discussed earlier.